Thanks for checking out this Decentralized News Hour brief. Yeah, it's one of those things. I've been making videos about the success of the New Hampshire voter laws that have been going on. And yep, another, what do you call it, roadblock in the road, whatever you, wow, man, I'm trying to be polite, but because it's difficult not to swear when things are like this. Yeah, another Manchester judge, my neighborhood, North End, lovely day. Yeah, shot down the law. And the claims, of course, are always going to be nonsense. You know, they're saying, I guess this is the latest thing they're saying. I mean, they've been saying a bunch of nonsense forever. But, the proof of residency is going to lengthen the lines at the polling station and therefore create an undue amount of burden upon the voters. And I had to chime in. I had to say something because this is silly on a couple of levels. I mean, might not look at it, but I clean up pretty good, guys, and I can put on a suit and tie like the best of them. So I got elected to run polling stations around here. It's one of the things I say a lot, and it was during the time of James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. They came and investigated us for the New Hampshire voting laws, and I hadn't heard of them really. I knew they did some stuff with Planned Parenthood and a couple other things, but I wasn't a huge fan or anything like that at the time. But they made a bunch of valid points, even though they really did it in such, the way they do it. I'm not going to give them too much of a hard time. When you're right, and that's the basic point. There's really not much else to say. They really did point out that anybody could go and say they are so-and-so and get a ballot and cast it. And I was the guy counting the ballots, guys. I was in charge of transporting them. I sealed them. I was doing a good job, too. Obviously I took it seriously. I'm talking about actual community service and all that other fun stuff. I wasn't really out. It wasn't a position that paid a lot of money or anything like that. It was only a few days a year that you had to run a polling station after all. So it wasn't a full-time job for me. I actually worked for a living and, did the politician thing for a minute, Again, because if I didn't, North End of Manchester would be known for this judge shooting this law down, which is obviously, to me, is political reasons, because this is how it works around here. The line goes out the door. It goes all the way down the street. It's never been an easy process, especially when you're voting for like a presidential candidate. It will take you hours. This is already how it is. They're saying that's going to increase with voter ID, but that's not what happens at all. You got 30 days prior to register. You go to the registrar. These are people that are elected just like the moderator that I was, just like the guy running it. These guys run their own section in the place. They were actually autonomous of me. They were the only people in the place, in the room really, that I couldn't tell what to do because they were their own elected, body. And they registered everybody. They call them the registrar because that's, New England for you. We have some fun with our R's, if you hadn't noticed. But the ridiculous nonsense is you could put that table anywhere you want, but it really doesn't matter. It's not going to have any more lines than any of the other people that have the books. We have huge tables spread out in a giant gymnasium. It's the line getting into the room where you register the vote that is always the longest. So what I'm saying is if you don't need to register, you don't have to wait in the registrar line. When I was running it, nobody was getting registered on the spot. A few people, maybe a dozen or so, and I'm talking about thousands that showed up. This is a city after all. So thousands of people showed up. Maybe a dozen of them needed to be registered on the spot. And all you would have needed is, proof of address. There's about a million ways to do that around here. So anybody with an ID could do it, but you could register with your, electric bill and a few other things that you needed to get it done. But it wasn't the hardest thing to do, and it still isn't. It really hasn't changed with this voter ID law. They just want to make sure that you're not voting in two places at once. It's not the most unreasonable thing in the world. But, so I guess, my opinion on it, it's being shut down for political reasons because, got my kids running around now, just so you know, guys, it's that kind of afternoon. But I couldn't help making a video. Mommy! Come on, buddy. That's Eli right there. He's one of mine. He's going to say hello, apparently. I wonder if I have to tag that in the description somehow. Anyway, guys, yeah, I didn't want to make a whole lot of political videos because I'm taking these kids out of here. This kind of nonsense is getting to me, especially in the neighborhood that shoots down these kind of common sense laws. We've been fighting for, I don't know, we're talking maybe 8 years to get something passed so that, dead people weren't rising from the graves to vote for Hillary Clinton around here and things like that. Oh, yeah. Happy Halloween too. Say hello to this one. Might as well. Half the people are involved. So if you know what I'm doing below the camera line, it's this. Just hang on. But anyway, geez, yeah, it's hard to make a video nowadays. Maybe this is why you don't see so many. Point is, there wouldn't be an extra line that much. It might tack like 15 minutes onto people who showed up completely unprepared about the process and had no idea what they were doing before they left their house. I don't really feel bad for them because, again, even if they completely screw up, they can still vote. They have to prove something about, their existence on this planet. Maybe, I don't know, they'll provide something that got them there. I don't know. But they still have days and days after they vote. So they're not going to miss out. It's not like they're going to be robbed of their democracy. They get to vote. I don't even know if they hold those votes aside or they go into the general pool, guys, honestly. But I would like to think they hold those votes aside with a couple of things, because absentee ballots and other things were counted separately at the end of the night. We did our official tally after we sealed all the boxes, is what I got to say. So we counted them by hand. We looked at them by hand. We made sure no one was Mickey Mouse wasn't going to win, things like that. We had scatter code. There's all sorts of rules I could get into, but all this stuff is dealt with after the fact. This isn't people's problem that are waiting in line by any stretch. So I think it's complete horseshit, the reasoning behind this. From personal experience of running a polling station, that is probably one of the most jackassy reasons I've ever heard. They don't care that you're already waiting 3 hours to get in the room. They want to make sure you don't have to wait an extra 5 minutes once you're in there, because that's the real important thing. Yeah, so I call BS on this judge's ruling. I kind of think it's more of a ploy than you think, though, because when you look at what's really going on, is New Hampshire is swinging hard left. I've been watching it. I mean, I don't know why. It seems like the worse things get, the more they want to do the same thing over and over again. It's like, having a policeman on every corner did not do anything. Crime is increasing in the standard of living and the misery index are going up. So I guess we should have 2 cops on every corner. That'll do it. It's same thing like that. It's like, the school's funding is one of the highest in the nation, and it's a big burden on the property tax owner. You know what we should do? Close down all the charter schools and make sure the private schools can't operate either. That way it forces them into the public school, and we can say, now we have more students, so we have to increase funding for the public schools even more so. Put an even bigger burden on property owners. Thanks a lot. So this state is not living up to its fine history lately. I would like to think it's a phase, but yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. This is my neighborhood for you. I always say that, I don't want to get involved in local politics while I'm planning on moving out of state. But this is something that affects people on a national level. It really does. We're the first in the nation primary state, guys. If our votes are all screwed up, that's a problem for everybody. So your nomination goes through the party system, guys. We pretty much get the first crack at picking who's going to be the Republican candidate versus who's going to be the Democratic candidate. This voter ID fraud stuff directly affected anybody who thought Bernie Sanders had a chance. It allowed the establishment to completely go over the heads of the voters and rig a system, in my opinion, allegedly, because I don't want my old boss coming and knocking on my door with that frowny face of his telling me I'm back in the interview chair about all this crap, because obviously I don't bother with politicians anymore, man. Once I found out that they know everything is crooked, and they don't care. They just say, well, yeah, of course it's crooked. Just deal with it. If you got to be crooked in a certain way. That's the only way to be moral. Like, I don't know. How about I just stay a decent person? I don't want to get involved with you guys. Yeah, it's like I'll get some new friends, I suppose, the way I look at it. But obviously not everyone's involved, and not everybody who gets investigated undercover Project Veritas style turns around and agrees with the undercover guys. Usually they cover their ass and admit no fault and probably don't even watch the counterpoint. So, it's one of those things, guys. I don't know what else to say about it. It's a real shame, but we're probably going to go into this more, and like I said, we're going to talk to people who aren't from New Hampshire. I have it all linked up, my Steemit account, Gregory Patrick on Steemit, Gregory Patrick pretty much everywhere I can get. And tons more content there. I've been writing a lot. I even put out some fiction lately. So, I hope to see you guys later. If you have any thoughts on this, we do interactive podcasts with Discord, and you can come on. We can actually hop you on the podcast if you think you want to go for it and you have your mic set up and you know what you're doing kind of thing. Otherwise, you can always get in touch with me anytime and I can help you set up a podcasting producer station at this point, whatever you guys need. So, let's get the information war going. Let's decentralize the news and let's all put it out there so we all know what's going on. And yeah, more New Hampshire news. This is a saga that won't end, so I hope you guys find it as interesting as I do, because apparently I'm going to be talking about it again when the Democrats take over in the fall here and completely shut down the 8 years of progress on this voter ID law that a lot of people have worked hard for. Because reasons, they don't want to make it. They don't want to make the wait 5 minutes longer once you've gone through the 2-hour pre-line. They don't want you to have to go through the registration line either. That would really make things difficult. Not like they could open more polling stations. Forget it. That's what we need to do is we need to make sure that everybody who has a face can vote in our elections and pick the national candidates, because again, by the time it gets to the 50th state in the primary season, guys, most other candidates have dropped out. You only have no choices, so now you kind of know why. I hope this helps, I hope to see you guys later tonight. It's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern. Link to the other channel, the Information War and Decentralized News channel, right in the description. So I hope you guys hang out and you can drop memes and have some fun with us. We're going to crack some jokes and hang out. See you then.